primary key. So that means we have to create a composite key here. Composite meaning like you have to decide what to use. So assuming that suppliers getting items, same item only in a particular day, right? That means if you need more, you are getting a different date. So simply, I can say that this should be sub ID and item ID, right? Okay, the second one is also quite easy. What tables student goes to canteen and buy fish bun and a food drink. Okay, I have seen you have updated only one record, right? I think at least I have seen two students in my class. You actually update the table only for one record. You can check the answers. I have marked down with the answers whether the answer is correct or not. So we know that when we take this, we have to reduce the number from the stock. So that means the table is, we have to say food item table. So this should be food item table. And then the update record, if you're going to use the record, maybe better to put the table name as well. Now, for example, like this, I can start saying item ID and then item name and then stock. So likewise, it's better to label it. It's perfectly all right. You will get marks anyway. So we know that first one is fish bun, that is 1001. So it's fish bun. And what should happen to stock is you have to reduce one. So that is also correct. But some miss the second one. So you won't get full marks. See the silly mistake you have made. I know that you know this, but simply you forgot to include in your answer. Then food drinks, you know, we had to reduce one. So this becomes 80. So the complete answer should be like this. Make sure that you put the labels as well. It's not compulsory, but I think it's more clear when you give an answer. Now the country decided to add cutlets as a new item. So the cutlet will be new item and purchase 25 them from the supplier Meena on the date. What needs updating? We know that we have to update anyway the food item table. So there should be two items. First one is food item table. And then we have to say it's purchase table, right? So the food item table, we know we have to include item ID. So that's the food item name, and then you have to have stock. So here we know that it's a new item. The next item ID should be 1006. Yes. And then this should be cutlet. And the stock is, we know we are going to purchase 25. So that's the first answer. Second one is the second table. We have to have the date, sub ID, then item ID, and then we have to have count, right? So date, we know that it's September 20th. Is it okay? September 20th, 2013, maybe. I will put 30. And then the supply ID, we know that it says 002 should be the supplier. That's Meena. And the item is what we are going to purchase is the cutlets, so that we know that it's 1006. Okay, one of you actually made the error here, put 1005. Make sure that you write the correct one to get the full marks. So there's one student put 1005 and the count should be 25. So this should be the answer. I think it's not that difficult. Rashmika may paper may prashne karada? Rashmika? මේ පොතගේ ආන්සර් එක මට ඇවිල්ලා තිබුණේ නැද්ද දන්නේ නැහැ. බලන්න චෙක් කරන්න මට මතක විදිහට තිබුණේ නැහැ කියලායි මට මතක.
නෑ සර්.
ඔව් කරලා තිබුණේ නැහැ නේද? right.
නෑ සර්.
okay. එහෙම බෑ ඔක්කොම කරන්න ඕනේ අනිත් දවසේ. රශ්මිකට අමාරුද ඒ කොටස?
සර් ප්‍රශ්න 5යි කරේ.
right. එහෙම බෑ ඒ විභාගෙනේ. දැන් ක්ලාස් එකේ දුන්නාම හැම ප්‍රශ්නෙම කරන්න සමහර ඒවා out of syllabus. දැන් තේරුණොත් මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙට උත්තරේ දන්නේ නැහැ කියලා empty තියන්න. it's okay. මේ උත්තරයක් දෙන්නම ඕනේ. right. සමහර කට්ටිය උත්තර දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒතර මට තේරෙනවා ඒක පේපර් පොතකින් බලලා තමයි උත්තරේ දීලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. So you have to be very careful when you're writing answers. මම හැමයිගේ මාක් කරලා තියෙනවා මම මොකොත් කියන්න යන්නේ නැහැ. මේ දන්නවා මේක පුතා තනියම කරලා නැහැ කියලා. So don't do that. Don't cheat because then it affects you, not me, right? So better. Okay, let's look at the answers. Some of you had difficulties. The first page that is displayed in the website is called, we call it home page. So remember this one. So this is the home page, or sometimes we also call index page, right? Home page or index page. So answer given here is we have to get the home page. අපි page එකට යනකොට පළවෙනි එකට කියන්නේ home page එහෙම නැත්නම් index page කියන එක තමයි එන්න ඕනේ. Then are used to link web pages. අපි දන්නවා web pages, to link the web pages we have to use what? Hyperlinks. So that you already know. So this should be hyperlinks. And then C contains frames, tables, etc. could be used to develop web pages. Okay, so a couple of them had the wrong answers, and one or two you got errors here. Right, now we have to discuss. I think we have not discussed this yet, but this is called templates. So if you can download the templates. So the templates contain everything there. So it's easy to, develop web pages. So the C should be template, right? So for example, you can download a template and you can edit it. So that's what people usually do nowadays. You are not going to develop from everything. Yes, it's called templates. Then D, a collection of web pages related to a topic is generally called. We know that that's a website, right? So the website contains the set of web pages. So that means we have to use it as website. Right. Software that are used to design, create, publish websites are called, okay, the one, there are a couple of ways you can actually develop software or websites. One, you can use simple editors like Notepad. So that's what we used to do. But there are sophisticated software like Dreamweaver, for example, right? Those are called authoring tools, right? So those are called authoring tools. Okay, can be used to view web page created in HTML. We know that once we create a web page, we need application software to do that. So this is called web browser, right? So this is called web browser, right? So that's what we use to view a web page. And the final one, G, the instruct the web browser to how to display a web page. We know that we have learned creating web pages. Now for that we have a use hypertext markup language. So where we will use tags how to display something. So this is called markup text. Okay, good. Most of you actually got the correct answers, but some you have the difficulties. Okay, then we'll have the second part. We have to match. So in HTML, we know that we start with HTML and ends with HTML, and there are two parts. We have head and body, right? So within the head, we have the title information. Once the body, whatever we write, the body will display. So that's what happens. Now, first of all, it does the first one, introduction to flowcharts, and then we have two here, and then pseudocode. So you see that the title is actually broken into two pieces. First of all, this is the level 1 header. So that means one, it should be, you know that this should be H1, right? So this should be H1 and ends with H1 then. But to break these two parts, we also look at breaking anything. We can use line breaks. So we are here. This is new way to use this. So the title is actually break in the middle, right? So the BR tag we will use to break this. Right. Then you have a flow chart. It's a paragraph. And then H2, level 2 header. Then another paragraph here, and then there will be a ordered list of items. We start with OL, and the list items we have LI, and usually you have /LI as well, although it's not compulsory to have it, but better to have tag pairs. And then within that you will see the text are bold, so that means these three, we need to bold, we use a tag B, right? So that part I think you already know. So the third one. And then again, we can go to fourth one. So that means here there's another list. We know that this list is unordered list. So the fourth one, we have to have UL, and the type is set cycle. That's why you will get this value. So the fourth one is UL. Then we have finally, we have an image. So we know that we have to use IMG. And yes, at the end of this, you have to have /HTML, not HTML. I think this is a mistake. So sometimes you might see mistakes in the papers, but if you carefully look at it, you can find the correct answer. Right. Having said that, let's move to question number 5. Most of you have not answered the first one. What is the difference between compiler and interpreter? So because of that, let me go to the theory quickly. We have discussed this, the idea. Now we need a translator because we use high-level language to write programs like Pascal. That is what we have learned. Now Pascal is easier for us. It uses simple English, commands to write programs. But when it comes to computers, computers only understands binary. That means 0 and 1. So which means we need a software to convert high-level languages into binary, right? Machine language. Now we need a translator. There are a couple of ways you can translate. So that's the difference between a compiler and interpreter. So interpreter, a compiler translate whole the code. So that means compiler translate the high-level language instruction into machine language by taking the entire program. So you convert the entire program at once, right? So what compiler does, let me write down because some of you have not answered this. Compiler, this will convert whole program into machine language. And before running the program. Whereas interpreter takes couple of lines, and then it will convert to machine language and continue. So the interpreter, maybe I will write it here. Convert one or several lines of code in high level into machine language, right? So in interpreter, what happens while you are running the program, you are going to convert it. So that's the difference. So the compiler can convert high level language instruction into machine language, but it does everything together and then it's going to run the program. So if there are any errors, you have to correct that before you run. But interpreter, it's the opposite. It will take one or several lines of code and convert into binary and keep on running it, right? So usually interpreters are better for a beginners. When you start in programming, better to start with a interpreted language because you have to clear out all the errors in compilers. I hope you got the answer. Okay. Within 2 seconds, there will be a break. Then you have to reconnect again. But we'll quickly look at these symbols. The following flow chart that shows the algorithm for drinking fruit juice stored in a refrigerator. 6 symbol A to F missing in the flow chart. So we know that we have to write a couple of things here. So the first one, begin. We know that the begin, we will have a symbol like this. So that's the begin of this. And then go to the chicken, open the fridge. Is there any mango juice? We know that this is a decision. So this will be a decision. Yes, do you want it again, the decision? Yes, take the juice bottle, take the glass, pour, put, wash, and this is the end. So that means the end. You have this. If it is no, then is there a fruit juice? Any other juice? And close the fridge and again end. So the answer will be, you have the two symbols. Either we have to use this. So this is for A, E, and F. For B, C, D, we have this symbol. So for A, E, F, we have this, and B, C, D, we have this one. Okay, so the next, right, so this one also I have seen couple of errors. I will send you your marked answers after finishing this session. There are a couple of errors, so I think everyone should take down this. So draw relevant flowchart segments to represent the following. So we have input, and then we have end if. So you can either start with the start, but it says it's a segment. So it's not necessary to start with the start, but there's nothing wrong that if you put start and stop here, right? But anyway, I will use it as a fragment. So first of all, you have to get the input. So I'm going to say, okay, input temperature. So that's the temperature value. Then you have a selection. So selection, we can ask, okay, is temperature greater than 32? Yes, that's the questions you can ask. If it is greater than 32, we know that we can say hot, right? Else we will have another one. right? So you are checking whether it's hot, no. So if it is yes, let's say yes, so then we know that it's output. I'm going to say output. Okay, remember to use the label because this is label. I have seen some of you miss this. And if it is no, and then the label also should be there. So yes should be there. So that's also missing in some of you. And if that is the case, we are asking whether it's greater than 20. So that means you have another selection here. So let me put like this is temperature greater than 20, right? So if that is the case, if it is yes, we know that it's output average. Yes, otherwise you are going to say, okay, output cold. Yes, that's the way we have to go. So let me draw down symbols. So the input temperature, we know that it's an input. You have to draw it nicely. Yes, is a symbol. And then we know that we have to have a decision block. So that is the lines. I'm drawing by mouse, so it's not very clear, but I hope you can do it a better job than me. So this should be hot if it is yes. Yes, remember to connect properly. I have seen some of you are not connect properly. And then this should be yes, isn't it? So that yes, you should put it there. Then there is another decision block if it is less than 32, right? So this is a one decision block. So if it is no, decision should be like this. Right, then you check whether the temperature is greater than 0, greater than 20. If that is the case, we know that it's output. Yes, and this is if it is less than 20. So this should be no. This should be yes, isn't it? So you should write there yes, and here it should be no. Right, so this is the end of this. This is how usually we have discussed in our class. And then this should be come to an end. So this is the flow chart. Yes, it's connected to the end one. So here also we have to connect, start from this. Yes, so we have a selection within a selection. I have seen the different way of drawing this. That's perfectly all right. You don't have to do it in my way. But make sure that you label it correctly, use correct symbols, and use yes and no's properly to answer the question paper, right? So those are the mistakes I have seen. I will go through your scripts and then I will mark it and I will send back to you, right? So today I'm going to do after finishing this one, I will go through your scripts. Okay, question number, this is 5. We'll go to question number 6. The following diagram shows a correct posture that can be adopted to avoid repetitive stress injury. When you do the same thing again and again and again, then there will be issues, right? And then some of the aspects that need to be taken into consider are noted, and others have labeled as P and T, right? So the details are given here. We have to mark it what those are. Explain the precaution should be taken to relay aspect label from PT, right? So starting from P, Q, R, S, T. So we have to say what those labels means. Now, first of all, the P actually for the the distance between the eye and also the monitor, you have to use a suitable length. And then the first one is you have to look in straight. Actually, straight, oh, it's a little bit down, slightly angled, right? So you look down, actually, little bit down. So straight or looking a little bit down. And then the monitor should be in the appropriate distance, right? Not too close, not too long as well. I mean, like distance should be appropriate distance. So that's the P. Let me type so that you can take down. So the first one is monitor appropriate distance between monitor and eye, and then the looking straight or slightly below, right? So you have to have appropriate distance, at the same time look straight or slightly below, not more than that. So that other postures create issues. Then proper back support, your backs should be straight. So the key is the support. Back should be straight with proper support, back support. So that's Q. Then we will have the chair. So you know that the height of the chair should be adjusted. The chair should be adjusted. You have to have proper height, not too low, not too high as well, so that you can put your legs properly. Yes. So usually the legs will not touch properly, right? So you have to have a leg support. Yes. This is what we call footstool. You should touch, right? Foot support. And then monitor, here the T. So these are the appropriate the postures and the actions we have to take for P to T, right? So I didn't have time to go through this. I will look at your answers and get back to you. Right. So that's question number 6, part 1. Second one, okay, we have to talk about the telemedicine. Now, right now with this online, especially in the COVID-19 pandemic situation, තාරගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා මේ හැම පේපර් එකේම ASCII වලින් ඉංග්‍රීසියට එකක් දීලා binary value අහනකොට ඒ 65 කියලා අරන් හදන්න පුළුවන්. You can use it තාරක all the time. It should be 65 capital නේ. විභාගයේ සමහරට ඔක පටලලා දෙන්න පුළුවන්. මම හැම වෙලේම කියලා කියන්නේ පරණ කාලේ නම් ඕක වෙනස් කරලා දීලා තිබුණ පොතේ. But ASCII කියලා කිව්වොත් then they can't change it, right? This is exactly how I also used to write the answers. Anyway, good that you asked a question. Right, telemedicine, as I told you, we have to use information and communication technologies to provide health care at a distance, right? And then we can use internet and other related technologies like video conferencing to observe the patient. And then you need some support. You have to have a medical expert, maybe a nurse, somebody who can explain the diagnosis or look at the symptoms and explain to the medical professional. So you have to have this, somebody who can be with the patient. ඒක තමයි මේ තාරක 2013 පේපර් එකේ ඒක අහලා තියෙන්නේ වෙනස් විදිහට. ඒකයි මම කියපොත් මේක ඇත්තටම out of syllabus නේ. 2015 කලින් our papers there are slightly different where they are asking. But now if you look at 2014 and up to 2019 they have properly asked the question. Okay, shall we write down this? So the telemedicine, maybe I will put the answer. I will put in short form. So telemetry uses ICT to provide the healthcare at a distance. With the help of doctor, diagnose the patient using technologies such as video conferencing. You can observe through the video. Information could be exchanged between two parties through ICT technologies. So it's not that clear there. Right. So that's telemedicine. Then we have B, government to citizen services. So we know that we have a website called www.gov.lk. So it lists a lot of services that government provides to their citizens, right? So what this means, let me write the answer here. So government to citizen, sometimes we say G to C, government to citizen, provides services. Let's start with government provide services to their citizens using ICT. Some examples, obtaining revenue license through license, LICENC license through online. So this is possible. And then we can get exam results, exam results through www.doenets. doenets.lk. So you can get the purchase tickets, TICK tickets, train, buses, even airlines through the internet. Right. So that's about the what the government to citizen services. Right. Let me look at the third one. Assume new company laboratory with internet connection has been provided to a school. Provide one suggestion you would propose for each of the following looking after the laboratory. So how do you provide security? Yes. Physical security means you will restrict unauthorized access, right? So you can use locks. Yes, we can use locks, isn't it? And then security personnel. You can have security personnel, isn't it? Yes, you have security personnel. And then you can use CCTV. Yes, these provide physical security. And then protect against malicious code, that means the software side. We can use antivirus, isn't it? Antivirus. We can use antivirus software. We can use and spyware. You can use anti-spyware. So this is a spying. There are some tools that keep record what you are doing. Regular updates to operating system. So this will improve what we call the protect the machine or system from malicious code. Logical security. We talk about logical security like use of username and passwords, right? So the computers, we have to have usernames and password. So these are to be used. And also like backups, you might lose your information, right? So that is the answer for question number 6. I hope you have answered correctly. I heard some of you have not tried. You should try questions like this actually to improve your writing. Writing there's no other way you have to write. Right? එනිසා පුතේ දැන් මම මේ කිව්වරහම 2012 පේපර් එකත් එක්ක තව එක්ස්ට්‍රා පේපර්ස් දෙකක් වෙනවා පේපර්ස් 3ක් කියවන ඔක්කොම කරන්න ඕනේ not compulsory 2012 compulsory අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම කරන්න ඕනේ සිකුරාදාට කලින් 2012 පේපර් එක මට එවන්න ඕනේ this month onwards I'm going to correct your answers individually so don't look at the answer papers write by yourself it's okay to have empty places if you don't know the answer Monari section no problem. We have to admit that whether you know or not, right? I can help you. Hariputi, ehmenang mangitani hatweni question එක මම නතර කරන අනික මේ system development life cycle කියන එක පරණ questions නම් කරන්නම එපා. මම මාක් කරලා කියන මොන questions කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා 2012 දී මොකද auto syllabus ඒවා තියෙනවා so you might confuse. හරි? ඒක නිසා මම හැම එකම එවන්නේ. Then I will send the provincial papers එවනවා පුතේ අද ඉඳන්. Try it. ඔයගොල්ලෝ කරොත් එවන්න මට. කවුරු හරි කෙනෙකුට වෙලාව හොයාගෙන කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් I know some of you have already the send the paper in the මම හිතන්නේ සතිය මුලම එවපු අය හිටියා මේ පන්ති. ඒ වගේම තමයි ක්ලාස් එකට ඇවිල්ලා කරපු අයත් හිටියා. So I need everyone to work on the papers before you participate. හරි මට එකලා මේක හරි කමක් නැහැ ඒ විදිහට වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ මේ මාස කීපෙදී එහෙනම් හොඳයි පුතේ එහෙනම් මම මේ සතියට නතර කරනවා තාරකගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් තිබ්බා මේ 2013 එක ප්‍රශ්නේ නේද පුතේ තාරක මොකද්ද question number එක මේක